are you? I decided to go for a walk. Well, I'm walking to my car, and look, they actually turned the lights back on the parking lot across the street. They were out for about 3 months. Nice. So that is good. Especially with, it's right across this, it's right, the parking garage, the parking lot is right next to a park over there. And homeless people tend to live there. And I have nothing against homeless people. But sometimes they feel the urge to break into cars or to test the door handle and get whatever they can. I went in, this is when I was a kid. I was like 18 or 19. And I went downtown, not too far from where I am now. It was called the Jefferson Arms. It was a real tall apartment complex. And I went in, and I parked in their parking lot. Hey, let me do it for my tour of the apartment. I think there were two. And I go, has anybody had any problems with their cars getting broken on that parking lot? And they're like, well, there's no guard, but it's a high fence. And it was a very high fence. But there was no lock on that fence. You just hit a button and you went in. I didn't have a key code. So I had, without thinking, left my car unlocked, and I had a roll of quarters in my console. I come back out, guess what's gone? My roll of quarters. But, maybe they needed it more than I did. It is so nice out here. I am not kidding. It feels like 75. Look, there's lights on over here now too. I'm a little nervous. I have my biopsy coming up. I thought I was going to lose my mask. I have that biopsy coming up. I was actually talking to an ENT. Well, he's a student. He's studying to be an ENT. That's what he thinks he wants to be. But he's still in med school. I think he's in his 4th year. Or 3rd. I don't know. And he goes, well, they're either going to poke you with a pen or cut into you. And he goes, if it's just nodules, they'll stick it in a needle in. I'm like, oh, what if it's a mass? Because they've used both words. And he goes, they're going to cut you. But I'm a little worried. But I'm not real worried. I think my sister is more worried. You guys, she's awesome. I was just like, I'll pay my bills, don't worry. She's like, we can get them to write 80% of it off. I'm like, whatever, I'm already up to $5,000. And then when I realized that over the weekend, I go, how do you get these written off? And you don't get them written off. You apply for a discount. You explain how much money you owe, how much money comes in. And the hospital can give you up to 80% off. Guess who qualifies? Thanks, Barb. So, that's pretty cool. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that. This used to be a parking lot. This used to be the parking lot that I used to park in. There's a building over here now, too. That used to be a parking lot, too. It was all the E lot. And when I worked down that street at Olin Hall, I've shown you that building before. I would park down here and just walk up the street. And, yeah, that led nowhere. Oh, yeah, they said, okay, you can't park there anymore. For like 3 or 4 months before they started the building, they said, you can't park there anymore. Nice. And then they finally did it. But walking, guy's waiting for me. Guy is waiting. Okay. About right after I started working as a security guard, I was the flex officer when I started here. That means I was trained in every single post. And which means I was trained at every building that had a guard. So I worked. And I had met this girl. I don't know her name. I don't want to offend anyone. And we're going to call her Jill. That was not her name. And I was supposed to go into the dispatch over on the other side, the undergrad side. And I was at another post. I get this phone call of somebody I didn't recognize, but I realized it was a Warshoe number. And I answered it, and I'm like, hello? And she's like, hey girl. And I'm like, who is this? And she goes, Jill. I go, Jill who? And she goes, oh, we met at the dispatch office. I go, why are you calling me? Well, I was wondering if you wanted to work for me tonight. I go, you don't have that authority to ask me if I want to work for you tonight. You call Brandon. And I called him and said, how did she get my number? And he's like, it's posted in the dispatch. They want to know if you're going to be late. If you're not there yet, they're going to call you. I go, I wasn't late, and she has no right to call me. Tell her not to. Tell her not to ever again. And he goes, yeah, I don't like her either. So, hold on. I had to go up to the 3rd floor parking today because everything was full. So, within like 5 months, what? Yeah. Within like 5 months, I was at my post that I was posted at for like 10 years after I stopped being the flex officer. And he calls me and he says, hey, I need you to work over at this building all week because the idiot guard that was working there got fired and arrested all at once. I'm like, okay. So that night but not that night, I was working at the Olin building that night. And I come in, and one of my coworkers says, "Do you believe what happened?" And I go, "What?" And she goes, "You don't know?" I go, "What happened?" And she goes, "I can't believe you don't know." I can't believe you're not going to tell me after saying I don't know 3 times. And she goes, "Oh, Jill got arrested. She stole a computer off a student." Go, "What?" Okay, in the building she was in, she only had a patrol 3 times. Once when she first got there, once in the middle of the day, and once right before she left work. In the meantime, she was seated at the customer service desk. And what was she doing? Watching cameras. All right. So she goes to do her last patrol, and she goes into one of these study rooms. And the kids like to build a nest. They'll have blankets, they'll have jackets, there'll be food all around, old cups, everything and anything, you know. And they leave it there because nobody's going to take it because of all the cameras. So this girl, I'm calling Jill, goes in and looks at the nest, and there's a laptop there. And she looks around, unplugs the computer, wraps up the cord, picks up the computer, puts it under her arm, walks out of the room, walks down the stairs, walks out the front door, down the street to the E-lot, puts it in her car, and walks back and finishes her patrol. That was on, I think, a Saturday night. Monday morning, she gets a phone call from the PD of the school. They're like, bring back the computer. And she goes, "I was just borrowing it." So my boss then, because then they called him, and my boss said, "Hey, bring back the computer. I need you to do that. And then I need you to come see me. Bring everything for Ally because we need to talk." And they took all of her equipment that was given to her by the school. They took her license to be a security guard because you can't be arrested and be a security guard. It goes against the, basic topic. So, yeah, that was the stupidest person I knew. Well, not the stupidest, but one of the stupidest people I met while doing my security job. And the whole reason why I'm telling you that story is because I got talking about the E-Lite. That doesn't exist anymore. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because I want to go home and go to bed. Have a good day. Bye.